Despite yet another off-the-field incident, the 49ers are not ready to toss out Aldon Smith. Welcome into your ESPN.com headlines. I'm Dario Melendez. Here's what 49ers GM Trent Baalke had to say about Aldon Smith on Friday.
We've had some hard discussions with Aldon, and he knows exactly where he stands with this organization and what he needs to do moving forward. He's made mistakes. There's no question about it, and he's the only one now that can get himself out of it. He's the one that has the keys to the car, right? And he's got to start making better decisions, and we expect him to do that.
ESPN senior NFL writer Jeffri Chadiha joining us now with more on this Aldon Smith situation. And Jeff, obviously the 49ers have a big decision to make on Aldon Smith's future in San Francisco in just a couple of days. But before we get to that, let's talk a little bit about that leash that Aldon Smith has. How short is it getting for him in San Fran?
Oh, from what I've heard, it's got to be zero tolerance right now. I mean, you're talking about a guy who's been arrested 4 times and missed 5 games last year because he went into rehab. And, you know, it's pretty apparent that even with the talk about them not wanting to pick up that option for 2014, that they are at a point where they have to do something to get him turned around. Personally, I think he's put them in a bad place because he's a good enough player to where you don't want to lose him. That's probably why Trent Baalke is saying what he's saying. On the flip side of it, it only takes so much as an organization, and you can't keep having a guy like that keep getting into trouble when you are trying to win a championship, when you're trying to put a new stadium into play that opens up this coming fall, and you've got a long history of being a top-notch organization. I think Aldon Smith certainly he's out of strikes right now.
And Jeff, you just mentioned that option that the 49ers have to decide whether or not they're going to pick up. They have until May 3rd to pick it up. It's worth about $10 million. Now, let's say the 49ers don't pick it up. What options do they have after that with Smith?
At that point, they basically are saying, look, we're going to go into the coming season with the option of releasing him if we're tired of him, the option of franchising him if we want to keep him around on a 1-year deal to see how he operates into that kind of a tag, or just outright just sort of like seeing if there's a possibility to extend him on probably a safer contract. But they hold all the cards right now. And, you know, in a lot of ways, it's very similar to what happened with the Kansas City Chiefs and Jared Allen in 2008 when they had a guy who was really talented, and obviously a very talented pass rusher who had a couple of DUIs. They chose to not give him a big-time contract. He got upset about that, but they ultimately traded him to Minnesota and recouped some draft picks for him that became Brandon Albert and Jamal Charles, a couple of Pro Bowl players. It would not surprise me if Aldon Smith can't prove to the 49ers, and from what I'm told, the CEO, Jed York, that he really is turning himself around, that they would cut bait with him.
What do you think the 49ers are going to do about his option?
You know, I've heard varying reports. I know that Adam Schefter reported that it's not likely to be picked up, and I think that's a way of sending a message to him of saying that, look, we're not going to give you $10 million because after you've been in so much trouble. Flip side of that is that if they don't give him that kind of money, they do risk losing a guy who's very talented, or at least keeping a guy like that on the payroll who is really at lower than fair market value. I mean, he's the guy who's had 42 sacks in the first 3 seasons in the NFL. I mean, that kind of production normally leads to a contract worth about $16, $17, $18 million a year. So I think they are taking a little bit of a risk there, but I do understand that, you know, where they're coming from. They have to make sure they're doing the right thing and making sure they're not getting in too deep with the guy who may never turn his life around.
That's ESPN senior NFL writer Jeffri Chadiha with the latest on Aldon Smith. And remember, for your latest headlines, keep right here on ESPN.com. I'm Dario Melendez.